You a football fan?
Yeah.
Do you like Bills?
No, Dolphins. It's a long story.
You ready? Yep, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Ball In 315 Podcast, Episode 3, with Nick Aversa and myself, Jeff Richardson. Nick, it was a long week last week.
Yeah.
What do you want to get into this week?
Well, I thought we'd talk about, one of the things that happened this past week. Junior Tyson Maxim of Waterville High School joined the 1,000 point club. He's a junior. He scored the 1,000 point on Saturday. He had a career high 35 points in a win over New York Mills. Tyson plays for his dad, Kobe, and the Waterville boys are 9-3 so far this season. So I thought that was a great milestone for Tyson Maxim. He has another year left, but he is already over the 1,000 point mark. So congratulations to Tyson Maxim. Also, we had the Chittenango boys who took on a challenge and stepped up and played Fayetteville Manlius this past week. They challenged themselves going up 2 classes, and they came up short against Fayetteville Manlius. FM won the game 58-49 behind Trevor Rowe's 23 points and Luke Davidson's 21 points. The Hornets are now 7-3 overall, and they have some big games coming up in their division. As far as Chittenango goes, Tyrus Kelly had 17 points, and Alex Moshe ended up with 14 in Chittenango's first loss of the year, albeit to a double-A team. The Bears are now 10-1 overall. So a couple things there. I think it's good for someone like Chittenango, one of the better teams in Class B this year, to challenge themselves and go up a couple divisions and play against a pretty strong FM team. They came up short, but I think that's good for them to do. It's a good experience, gives them a good challenge. So I think both teams will be all set going forward for the rest of the season.
Do you think the state rankings will hold that against them losing to that double-A school?
I don't know. I don't know how they
I
don't know how they do, what they take into consideration for those things. But if I'm Chittenango, I don't really care too much. I'd rather get the game experience playing against a tough team. It's only going to make you better towards the end of the season, So as far as the girls go, West Hill, they've been red hot, both the boys and the girls. But as far as the girls go, West Hill went up north to Indian River and came home with a 49-39 win. Catherine Dady had a game-high 23 points and 10 rebounds. McDonald's All-American nominee Adrian Lamora had 16 points for Indian River. But West Hill girls are now 7-1 on the season, while Indian River falls to 11-2. Two of the better teams on the girls' side of things. They're both going to be, in the mix at the end of the year in the sectionals. But both teams have been playing very well. That's a really good win for West Hill on the road.
That's big.
Yeah. And also the Bishop Ludden girls got a season-high 21 points from Caitlin Kibling to lead the Ludden girls to a 63-48 win over Catholic Central in their MLK tournament hosted by Utica Notre Dame. The host school got a big 63-48 win over the CBA girls. So I believe, Jeff, Bishop Ludden and Utica Notre Dame are playing in the championship game as we speak. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that's going, but I believe Bishop Ludden and Utica Notre Dame are in the championship game going on right now. I believe it started at 6 o'clock. So when we come back to you next week, we can talk about that a little bit. Also, the CNS girls hosted a couple of Section 2 schools. They brought up Saratoga Springs, and CNS beat Saratoga Springs 67-64 on Saturday behind Alexa Kulikowski's 26 points, along with Alita Carey Santangelo chipped in with 21. So CNS gets a good win against a Section 2 team, Saratoga Springs. And again, as we speak, I think they're playing Shenendehowa right now.
They took the loss 62-54, it says.
Okay, so Shenendehowa beat the CNS girls 62-54. But CNS taking on a couple Section 2 schools. Again, I think it's one of those things where, with all the cancellations, schools are trying to get in as many games as they can. So they're getting a little creative with the schedule and taking on some teams that they normally wouldn't. Yeah. But that's, again, that can only help the CNS girls going forward, playing against two quality teams over the weekend. So that's a little bit of what's been going on the boys and the girls side so far. There are some big games coming up on both sides this week that we'll talk about afterwards. But our big guest today is our Section 3 Executive Director, John Rathbun, who's going to join us in a couple minutes. And Jeff, I look forward to having him on and talking about the sectionals. That should be fun.
He's got to be a busy man at this time of year, I would think.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Working 6 days a week, I bet.
I think he's busy all year round, but definitely with everything that's going on, and I don't know how big the staff is there that he has, but he does a great job as the Section 3 Executive Director. So we'll have him coming on at 7:10.
3 minutes.
In 3 minutes, okay. So what are you going to any games this week coming up? Are you planning on going to any games?
I'm going to go back. I'm going to hopefully meet you at Grimes tomorrow.
Okay.
Definitely Jenny in Liverpool, right?
Yes.
I'm going to come to that one. Hopefully sit with you, try to get some highlights of that game.
Okay.
I did promise a couple of people on Twitter that I'm going to get up north this week. So hopefully I got to get to West Canada Valley for the boys. Also, Utica Academy of Science I got to run into too. I saw them scrimmage Rome in the beginning of the year. And Sackett's Harbor and Hamilton, too, are rolling right now, too. So I want to go catch some of them.
Okay, good.
Just hopefully the storm coming isn't too major that's coming tonight, but they said 10 to 18 inches.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I know I'll be at Bishop Grimes tomorrow doing the consolation game and the championship game on the boys' side for their MLK tournament, weather permitting. The consolation game's at 4:30, followed by the championship game at 6. I'm going to go over. I plan on going to Liverpool on Tuesday night and checking out the rematch between West Genesee and Liverpool on the boys' side. That should be an exciting, packed house, exciting venue. That should be. I know Liverpool is chomping at the bit for that rematch, and West Genesee is still undefeated, so they're continuing to roll. So that should be a really fun night. I have the Lemoyne College, the girls and the guys play this Wednesday at home. They moved up the times a little bit. The women are starting at 3:30, and the men are starting at 5:30. But that's this Wednesday. Lemoyne College women will be in action up at the campus at 3:30. I think they have St. Michael's out of Vermont, and that might be why they moved up the times because that's pretty far.
Yeah.
But yeah, the women play at 3:30 and the men play at 5:30 this Wednesday. And then I'll be over at CBA, I believe on Friday for CBA FM on the boys' side. So that should be another good game. There's a lot of
CBA boys only one loss too, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of good games coming up on both the boys and the girls' side coming down the stretch now, and it's really, we're into the second half of the season, and it's going to get really, really fun and exciting.
Mr. Rathborn he's waiting.
Okay, I think it's time to bring on our guest for the show. See if we can get Mr. Rathbun on the show here.
Hey guys,
John, can you hear us?
Yep, can you hear me?
We can't hear John. Let's see if we can.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
John, can you hear us? You can hear us. Okay.
Yeah. You can't hear me, right? Everyone
hear
can
him?
see and hear you.
There we go. All All right, there he is. John, you're sideways, but we got you.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, good. How's everything going,
So-
guys?
Pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the Section 3 Executive Director of Section 3 Sports, Mr. John Rathbun. John, thank you so much for joining CNY Hoop Talk in the 315.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys and your listeners.
Great, great. So let's get right into it, John. The thing I want to talk to you first about is the announcement came out this past week that all schools will be eligible for participation in the sectional playoffs this year. And that's something different than what normally happens. Usually schools have to get a certain amount of wins to qualify for sectionals. But this year, the decision was made to allow all the schools to participate if they like. So my question to you, John, is who was involved in making that decision and why was the decision made?
So first of all, let's just say, a year ago from today, we had nothing. We're still in the middle of this pandemic. And last year we had no basketball season. And this year, even though we're still in the middle of this pandemic and school districts are still struggling with COVID, with quarantine, with the lack of bus drivers, coaches, kids in and out of school, it's been a struggle. But the most positive thing is that our students are still playing after school activities and they're involved in everything. And so this is a really, really good thing. So what we've seen through this school year is, though, even though there's a number of schools that have played games, they're not playing with a full squad. So they may have lost the game, but they're still honoring their commitment. So we didn't really want to penalize anybody who's still, honoring their regular season schedule that may not qualify or may not have the seating before. So our athletic council is our governing body within Section 3. We've had a number of discussions with our athletic council, and we brought up this idea of having an open sectionals for the winter only because, we just feel that everybody ought to have that opportunity. We've got some schools right now maybe only played 6 or 7 games. We've got some schools that play 12. Everybody's all over the place. So we just really didn't want to penalize anybody. We wanted to extend the season a little bit, give the school districts the opportunity whether they wanted to enter sectionals or not. But we wanted at least everybody have that opportunity and maybe play 1 more game, 2 more games before the end of the season. So if you think about last year with a lot of students who didn't play basketball, so this year right now we've got kids who maybe have jumped from the modified up to the varsity and skipped that JV year. So it's been a transitional year for a lot of schools, even though their record may not show it. But a lot of those kids are just taking time to get into the groove of what varsity basketball is all about. So it's been a challenging year to say the least. But the most positive thing is that the students are playing basketball, and that's the positive thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even just from the mental aspect of things, it's just so important for them to be able to continue to get these games in and have somewhat of a normal life under not normal circumstances. So, yeah, I agree with that. So let me ask you, John, who will be tasked with putting together the brackets and what will be the criteria they'll be using to determine seedings?
So normally what we do is that our sport committees gather all the information. And normally in a normal year, a school has to have a 400 winning percentage in either their class, their overall record, or within their league in order to qualify for sectionals. So our athletic council, working with our league presidents, decided to waive that requirement. So now it's open for anybody. So they basically have to send all their information into our sport committees. And we're lucky within Section 3 because we have 2 great sport coordinators. Mike Clonan is our boys coordinator, and Mike's been doing it for a number of years. And then the legend Larry Stockwell has been doing our girls program for God knows how long. But, they're great. So those sport committees will gather all the information. We'll sit down on that Wednesday. I think it's the 16th of November, and we'll start working on the brackets. And, we'll probably, the biggest difference is that out bracket will probably be that Thursday night. So it won't extend the tournament at all. We'll just have another round for the out brackets and then moving into the quarterfinals. Right now, the only real difference is the qualifying. Whether we alter the way we seed people, I'm not quite sure. We still need to have that discussion. But right now, what we wanted to do is just offer to the school districts. If they decide to opt out, they need to notify us probably within a week before so we can make adjustments. But right now, everybody's is eligible to play basketball for a couple more weeks.
So you said the 16th of what now? They'll start that process?
Yeah, whatever that Wednesday is in February, there is the 16th or 14th.
Okay.
I have to look at my calendar.
Okay. So so Clonan and Stockwell, when you say their committees, is their committees made up of athletic directors from the different schools?
So their committee is made up of league representatives, and we have 6 leagues within Section 3. Each league is eligible to have 1 representative per 5 schools that they have within their league. But most leagues, have 1 or 2 reps that come to all the meetings, and we do that for all of our sports. We have 6 leagues, and we want everybody to have an equal say in any kind of decision that we make. So usually, it's anywhere between 12 to 18 people that sit in the room and work all this out, and they take everything into consideration before they actually release the brackets. So I think it's a little more exciting than the NCAA's, but we don't get the love from the media. So
I know, I'd like to sit in on one of those. So so yeah, the first thing I think people thought about when everyone was going to be eligible was, is this going to make for a long postseason? Like, is this going to extend? Is the postseason going to be longer than normal because we have so many teams eligible? Would that be the case or no?
no, not really, because what we do is we lock ourselves into the dates established by the state for their state tournament, and then we contract for regional games, and then we contract with OCC to do our finals. The girls' finals will be on March 5th up at the SRC Arena, and the boys will be on March 6th. And so we'll work our way back. And so probably what the tournament will look like, we'll seed on Wednesday. The out-bracket game will be Thursday, Friday. The quarterfinals will be that Saturday or Tuesday. And then the semifinals will be the following weekend up the SRC Arena, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it really won't extend it. And probably what it will do is cut the practice time in between rounds. Especially if we have any kind of quarantine type situation. The early rounds, will give the higher seed the ability to adjust that 1 day or 2, but we won't delay for the next round. So if for some reason, if someone goes into quarantine and they can't fulfill their commitment, then the tournament's going to go on without them. So that'll be a team, the coach, or a player. So we'll try to, the early rounds, we'll try to be flexible a little bit, but we need to get the tournament in. So we've had open tournaments before in the spring. For baseball, softball, when we've had really wet or snowy springs. So we've done this before. We know how to do it. And hopefully we won't have any snowstorms to throw a wrench into the whole situation anyway, too. So living in upstate New York in a COVID world, you just never know what's going to happen.
Right. So it'll still be the normal situation where teams with the higher seed will have home games up until the semifinal round, where you'll have neutral courts and semis and championship, right?
Correct. Yeah. So we call them designated sites. We don't call them neutral because people think neutral means the middle. And if one team traveled 35 miles, the other team traveled 25 miles, then my phone just gets blown off the hook on a Monday morning. We call them designated sites, but we do have the designated sites all set up for the semifinals at the SRC Arena in Allen Hall. And then the finals will be at the SRC Arena. And then we'll do the regionals. The regional girls games will be at CNS. And the regional boy games will be at Liverpool. And I don't know if you've been out to the Liverpool gym, but that's flat out beautiful. They did a nice job with it.
Yeah, it sure is. State-of-the-art gym there, yeah. So for these, at this point in the year, when a kid has to go into quarantine, are we dealing with the 5 days or the 10 days?
So I believe the school districts follow their local Department of Health. And the interesting thing within Section 3, we're so big, we actually deal with 11 different Department of Health. And I wish I could say they were all consistent, but they're not. So basically what we tell our local school districts is to contact your local Department of Health, find out what the restrictions are, and then follow those restrictions. And we'll honor whatever those restrictions are. So where it may come into play is that when we do those opening rounds, where you might have a team traveling from one county to another, we just have to make sure we communicate what any of those restrictions are before somebody leaves their home and goes into another community.
Okay. And for the fans that are going to want to come and see these games, what can they expect? Do they have to do anything special to come and see the games?
So first of all, I think the most important thing is that our athletic directors and our schools are going to have to communicate to the spectators any kind of restrictions that may happen within that venue. So right now, there's no restrictions on large group gatherings. The only thing that we're going to tell everybody is you have to have a mask on. So that's not even a non-starter. Don't even come in the building if you don't have a mask on. The other thing is we're doing digital ticketing for the semifinals and finals, which is we've been doing that probably since last September. It's worked out really, really well. It provides a sense of security for our ticket sellers. So we're not handling money; they're not touching money. It's worked out really, really well. It's pre-sale type thing like that. You just come in, we scan it, and go right to your seat. So we do the digital ticketing, and you have to have the mask. That's the most important thing for our fans to be aware of right now.
And where do the fans go to get the digital ticket?
So they can go right to the Section 3 website, section3.org. It's right on the main page right there. You click right there, and you can purchase the ticket for whatever event you want to do.
Okay. All right. So the fans can go to the Section 3 website and get your digital tickets before you get there. You're not going to be able to just walk in the door and go to the game, right?
Correct. Well, you can actually buy them on your phone at the door, but you can't come in with cash. So we're not touching cash. We're not making any kind of change. We're not doing that whole delay right there at the ticket entry. So you can purchase. We'll have a QR code. You can scan your phone right there, purchase your ticket, and walk in. And we'll get you all set.
Okay.
Easy technology.
All right.
Mr. Rathbard, my question for you is, what do you think's been the hardest thing for you since COVID has hit?
So the hardest thing for me, I would just say, consistency, only because it's affected everybody completely different, and really sometimes just trying to deal with different situations has probably been the toughest thing for us, because you can have one sport that COVID was really, really affecting, and then you can have another sport that really hasn't touched anything. The first night we had our indoor track meet up at the SRC Arena. Those kids just walked in there, and I don't think I've seen so many kids smile so much in my life. They were just so glad to be in there, competing, hanging out with their friends, and it was really, all of the struggles we've had for the last year and a half, to see all those smiles on those kids' face that night, made it all worthwhile. So it's been a tough 18 months, but it's been a tough 18 months for everybody, and I thank our students. Our students have been great, and those kids just want to play. So if you tell the kids the only way you're going to play basketball is wrap your head in a towel, those kids are going to wrap their head in a towel because they want to play. It's really important for them to get out there, be active, be with their friends, represent their school, represent their communities, and then just have fun, because I think it's very, very important that we continue offering those types of opportunities for our students.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're basketball guys, but everything we've seen that the total everything in every winter sport is qualifying for sectionals, correct? Did I read right?
So all the team sports, yeah. So it'll be boys and girls volleyball, boys and girls basketball, and ice hockey.
Okay. And then probably a question that you're gonna answer down the road, but if the winners of the games come down with the COVID and they got to quarantine for a period of time, are you guys gonna go back to the losers of that game if the winner has to quarantine to move on?
So we haven't really had that discussion, and I know in the spring what we did was we just called it a no contest, and then the next team just had to buy into that final, to the next round. So we didn't pull a losing team back into the tournament. I don't think we have that policy. We haven't talked about that right now.
Okay. And John, what would you like to say to the athletic directors, the coaches, the officials, and most of all to the student athletes in regards to doing whatever they have to do to get these games played?
So first of all, what I'd like to say to the athletic directors, all of their hard work hasn't gone unnoticed. And I think a lot of people really have no idea how much time and energy an athletic director puts into running an event. A lot of times people will just show up and they think there's really nothing to it. Everything that leads up to the event is hours upon hours of planning, not only, within their athletic department, but within their transportation department, within their facility people. There's just so much that goes into it. So I appreciate everything they do. To our officials have been great. There's been a lot of little things that they had to do, wearing masks, if they're not used to doing that kind of stuff. But they've been awesome, especially working with athletic directors when we had to reschedule games. The assigners and the sport officials have been great. To our coaches, I think our coaches have been awesome on being a positive role model for our students, because, it's easy sometimes when everything goes wrong to get a negative attitude. our coaches have been really, really positive. And then to our students have been troopers. Those kids just want to play. They've been great. And I can't thank them enough. And they put on a great show so far. It's been different. It's going to be different. And like I said before, we've got an awful lot of young students that are playing at a high competitive level right now. Maybe they're not used to it. And I think some of our teams that have always been good programs, they might be at 500 right now. But I think, you got to watch out for some of these teams, like Bishop Grimes is a couple games over 500, but he's got a good team. Bishop Blood's got a good team, and so I think once we sectionals, those younger kids are going to grow up a little bit, and I think we're going to surprise somebody. So I think the seeding this year is going to be interesting, even though you might be a 7-seeded team, but you might be a 7-seeded team where you come out of nowhere and win everything. So don't know. A lot of their schools right now have their league commitments, and so you might have a team like Alville, schools up around the Watertown area. They may come into Syracuse and just blow everybody out because they've got a really, really good team.
Yeah, and I was telling Jeff when the announcement came out last week, that was one of the things that I thought is going to be exciting about this, because there are some teams this year like Bishop Ludden on the boys' side, Bishop Grimes on the boys' side, some other teams that, record speaking, they're not having that great of a year, but they have a lot of talent on the team. And if if everything comes together at the right time, they could make cause a lot of damage during the postseason. And I think there's a lot of teams like that. There's a lot of parity. I think it's going to make for a fun postseason. So we're really looking forward to that and excited about that.
Yeah, and that's why I said, losing that year playing JV basketball, I think, hurt a lot of teams. And so I think it's just that time to gel as a team. Some teams can do it a lot quicker than the others. Some teams it doesn't come at all. But I think, once February comes rolling around, I think our quality of basketball is going to really improve. And I think we're going to surprise some people throughout the state this year, because I know we've got some talented athletes within Section 3, and it's just going to take some time. So I feel very, very confident that we're going to make a mark this year in the state tournament.
Yeah. And John, finally, I would imagine besides handing out the sectional banners to all the championship teams, one of the more enjoyable parts of your job is recognizing coaches who have hit milestones. And you were able to do that last week with Coach Tom Blackford. He hit his 572 wins, and you were able to be there and present him with something. Talk a little bit about that.
So I think if you look in the dictionary for the word gym rat, you have a picture of Tom Blackford there, because he's the ultimate coach. He's the ultimate fan that we have within Section 3. He's done an awful lot for the Hamilton community. He's done an awful lot for the FM community. He's done an awful lot for Section 3 basketball. He's been on our basketball committee for more years than I've been involved within Section 3. But he's the kind of guy that'll do anything, anywhere. You just pick up the phone call and say, Blackie, can you be up at APW on a Saturday morning, 9 o'clock? He'll be there a quarter after 8. He's an amazing guy. And I think, all of his victories have come within Section 3, both at Hamilton and also at FM. I think a little thing that people really don't know, his first team, he had 12 boys that became really, really famous. Those 12 boys are now called the 12 Apostles. So that's how long he's been around.
Yeah. Yes, he has been around a long time, but like you said, he's one of the really, really good guys in the section, and one that everybody respects. And I'm glad you were able to be there and recognize his accomplishment. John, what year is this for you as far as executive director?
So this is actually my 14th year as the executive director of Section 3. And I'll tell you, I love my job. And what I like about it is that there's no 2 days that are ever like. But I think what we do is, we're making memories for students. And events that happen within Section 3, people remember this the rest of their life. There's not too many jobs out there that can fulfill that need. And I think it's pretty amazing. So when I walk out of a gym at the end of the night and I see those kids smiling, or I even see the kids crying, it's just something that I know that they're going to remember that moment for the rest of their life. And I remember when I played high school basketball, it was the same way. We played at the War Memorial, in my junior year. I can almost remember the entire game. And that was, well, more than a little while ago, but it was, it was a long time ago. But, but that's what we do, and I think that's what's amazing about, the activities that we offer within Section 3. And I really, really enjoy it.
Well, that's awesome. And you're right. I mean, the kids the kids need that opportunity to compete. They learn so many life lessons, some of the best days of your life. Later on, when they get older like us, they'll look back at it and they'll remember those fond times, even through the COVID difficulties. It'll be something that they'll look back on and say, "Wow, that was a crazy time," but I got to play the game. So, John, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are, especially this time of year. We just wanted to talk about some of those things. We thank you so much for coming on and joining us. Really
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was good talking to you.
Okay, we'll see you down the road. Take care.
See you in a few weeks.
Well, there you have it. Section 3 Executive Director John Rathbun with us on CNY Hoop Talk in the 315. What did you think about some of the things that you heard from John in that interview?
I did want to ask about, I think if there's a referee shortage or not, but I kind of like the idea of everybody making it because there's going to be some upsets.
Yeah,
There's going to be some upsets.
yeah, and I think that's something for an upcoming show. I do want to involve someone from the officials or referees, because they definitely are looking for people to join the ranks, because in all sports there's just not enough referees, and I know they're all looking for volunteers. They're all looking for people to step up and try it. They make good money. It's a good workout. You get to stay active and stay in it. So I think that's a good idea for a future podcast.
Actually, it's funny. I always got referees ask me questions about, do I give videos of them or highlights of them? So I'm going to grab a couple of those guys that follow me on Facebook and see if they want to come on.
Okay.
So I bet they dealt with a lot this year too.
Yeah.
I bet they dealt with a whole lot.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard. To ask, if you, to work out with a mask on, it's difficult. Imagine running up in court with a whistle in your mouth and a mask over your face.
Yeah, I think the referees got the special ones too, so the whistle fits in it.
Yeah, so they're trying to, it's just it's a sacrifice, but they've stepped up and got it done. And
I want to say boys varsities are, I think I read that they're $105 a game too. And that was a couple of years ago when I looked into it, so it's probably more now, especially with COVID.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that, but that's a good thing for the future, because we do need to get some more referees in all the sports. So,
did you hire? You got any more?
Yeah. So, no, I just wanted to say. So we got West Genesee, like we talked about earlier, on the boys' side, taking on Liverpool on Tuesday. West Genesee comes into that game 12-0. Liverpool's going to be 7-1. They had a couple cancellations leading up to, so Liverpool hasn't played in about a week, I think. And then West Genesee has CNS on Friday, who CNS is now 8-4. They're making a run. Who was it that had the 41 points last week?
Luke Benedict.
Yeah.
41, and they put up 105 against Corcoran.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. And then,
I text Coach Kyle Martin and asked him what was he feeding the kid. He said that they're starting to gel right now too, and then they've been without Luke Paragon too. I don't know if it's
saw that.
Or COVID or sickness, but he'll be back this week too.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a fun week actually.
Yeah, so you got an undefeated West Genny team that's got two tough games this week. Liverpool on Tuesday, CNS on Friday. CBA has a tough game on the boys' side this week against FM on Friday. CBA's 9-1, FM 7-2 now. In the B division, Utica Academy of Science is 9-1. They take on West Hill Friday night. West Hill's now 8-2, so they're right up there.
West Hill's rolling right now.
Yeah, so that game's at West Hill. So you got Utica Academy of Science at 9-1, West Hill at 8-2. They'll match up at West Hill on Friday. Skinny Atlas is also 9-1 in the B division. They have West Hill at home on Tuesday. So West Hill's got a tough week. They got Skinny Atlas on Tuesday and Utica Academy of Science on Friday. And then you got Marcellus going against Skinny Atlas on Thursday. So Skinny Atlas has a couple tough games this week. And like I said, the consolation game and the championship game of the MLK tournament at Bishop Grimes will be tomorrow, weather permitting.
My first year coaching, I was at Syracuse ITC 2015. I actually won that. I got the I was cleaning the basement. I found that T-shirt.
Yeah.
I took a picture of Coach McKinley. That was his first year at Grimes.
Yeah.
It'll pop up in my memory soon.
Coach McKinney is another one that right up there with
Yeah,
wins.
we gotta look into that and see what he's got.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of wins at Jamesville, DeWitt, and Bishop Grimes, and then he also had a bunch at Vermont as well. You want to close out the show going over the standings for
Yeah, I'll go
the
through.
current standings on both sides, boys and girls?
We started with the boys last week. I'll start with the girls this week.
Okay.
We'll go to AA first. I printed this a couple hours ago, so hopefully CNS might be. I think so. CNS is probably going to be 6-2. Actually, 7-2 maybe because they won one, lost one.
Yeah, probably 7-2. Yeah.
So and then we got Rome Free at 11-3. Baldwinsville girls. Shout out to their coach too. The girls coach just got their fourth. She got her 400th win too.
Morse,
been there
Coach Morse,
she's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Congratulations, Coach Morse.
She's dedicated lady too. She goes all out every game.
Yeah.
Coming in fourth, Henniger at 6-4. Liverpool at 6-4. We got Utica Proctor at 6-6. Fayetteville Manualist girls at 6-7. CBA at 4-6. Syracuse West at 2-5, and West Genesee at 2-11. That's top 10 for the AA girls.
And again, I'll say this again. Here's a team, West Genesee girls, who are 2-11, that have lost a bunch of games by
4, 5, 6 points.
2 points here, 2 points there. They can cause some damage come playoff time. So that's the interesting part about all the schools being eligible to participate. What do you got in Class A?
We got Indian River at 11-2. We got Cortland at 8-2. Auburn at 7-2. Bishop Ludden at 5-2. Fulton girls at 5-4. Janesville DeWitt at 5-4. Camden girls at 6-5. New Hartford at 6-6. ESM at 3-6. Watertown at 3-8. Oswego girls 1-4. Central Square 2-9. Carthage girls 1-10. That's the top 10 for them.
Yeah,
that can be up in the air too. On a bad day,
yeah.
Someone plays bad and Oswego comes in and knocks them out.
So again, in Class A, in the girls' side, you got a bunch of good teams there. I mean, Indian River has Lemoore on their team, and they're 11-2. But West Hill just went up there and beat them. Cortland's got a good record. Auburn, how about Leah Middleton? She's been playing great for the Auburn girls team.
Shout out to Lisa Middleton. Her mom, she gives me updates every game too.
Yeah,
they're from Auburn.
Okay,
they've been there forever. Dad was a local director of police bureau.
Yeah, Leah Middleton's been getting it done the last month, having some really good games. Again, Bishop Ludden's a really good team that just hasn't played a lot of games this year because of cancellations. I want to see the girls, the Indian River and Bishop Ludden. Yeah,
Mara versus the other girl, the All-American.
Yeah, Strife.
Class B, we got a handful of teams here. Little Falls is 9-0. General Brown is 11-1. Mexico 7-1. West Hill 6-1. Homers 8-2. Bishop Grimes 7-2. Casanova 6-2. Utica Notre Dame 10-4. Shout out to Phoenix girls, Coach Troy Washington. They're 7-3. And then number 10 at Oneida is 8-4. Skinny Atlas 7-4, and South Jeff 7-4. So I'm going to say that's up in the air too, because any of those teams can win at any given time too.
Well, I mean, you got a team like South Jeff who's a 7-4. They're like in the middle of the pack of this division.
And they've been winning.
But they got Jackie Pittock. You know what I mean? So when you got a girl like her on your team, I mean, you can win any given game. So there's a bunch of teams in there. Again, Class B on both the boys and the girls side is going to be really interesting. There's a bunch of teams that are in it, you know,
and a lot don't play each other during the year either.
Right,
from the up north schools to down here.
Yeah.
Class C girls, we got Thousand Islands at 8-0, Lafayette at 10-2, Mount Markham at 10-2, Waterville at 10-2, Weedsport 8-2, West Canada Valley 7-2, Sandy Creek 7-4, Frankfurt Schuyler 8-5, Cooperstown 6-5, Herkimer 5-5, and Tully 5-5.
Yeah, and like John Rathman was saying, Larry Stockwell, who helps put the sectionals together on the girls' side of things, he coaches Waterville High School, so they're having a good season. They're 10-2. So again, looking forward to seeing some of these teams come tournament time.
We should take a trip when there's no snow and you're off. Class D, Poland girls are in first at 8-1. Copenhagen at 10-2, number 2. Hamilton girls at 8-3. Brookfield girls 8-4. Stockbridge Valley at 5-3. New York Mills at 7-5. Number 7, Alex Bay 6-6. Bellevue Henderson tied with them at 5-5. Watertown IHC at 4-5. And then Arinsky, and then coming in at number 10 at 5-7.
Yeah, risky.
So yep.
So again, a lot of good teams there as well. So, yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing all these girls teams bring it home towards the end of the year and see who comes out on top. What do you got on the boys' side?
Double A, as we touched on, West Jennings 12-0, of course.
Mhm.
CBA 9-1, Liverpool 7-1, FM 7-3, CNS 8-4, Utica Proctor 5-6, Henniger I believe is on a 2-win streak. They're 4-6, Corcoran 3-6, Rome Free at 5-8, Bishop Ludden at 3-6, Baldwinsville at 3-7, Nottingham at 2-8, and Fowler at 1-8.
Yeah, and again, you know, as far as teams that could put a monkey wrench in things for some of the top tier teams, I mean, you got a team like Henniger who doesn't have a good record, but they have good players, and they're getting hot at the right time. They could beat somebody on any given night. Corcoran's got Amir Reeves. They can beat anybody on a given night. Rome Free Academy has Uzziah Grimes and Caden McCaskill, two really good players, so they can
Bishop
give
Ludden,
anybody.
too.
Yeah, Bishop Ludden's got a lot of talent. There's a lot of you know, that again, the sectional playoffs will be interesting in the double A's. What do you got in the A's?
Class A, New Hartford still in first, 10-1. Then we got Camden Boys at number 2. They're 8-3. Janesville DeWitt at 6-5. Syracuse Academy of Science is 6-4. Bishop Grimes 4-5. Auburn 6-6. Cortland at 6-5. Fulton at 5-4. Oswego at 3-3, and Whitesboro at 4-5, coming in at number 10. And then we'll just go through them. Central Square is 4-5. ESM coming in number 12 is 4-6. Watertown is 5-6. Carthage is 5-6. Indian Rivers 2-10, and Utica Notre Dame is 1-8.
Yeah,
So throw those records out pretty soon here.
yeah, and you know, another good example is you got ESM, who's 4-6 in the A division. They played Baldwinsville the other day and beat them. So Baldwinsville, a double A team, ESM's a team, and they were, you know, they went out of conference and beat Baldwinsville. So again, you got a 4-6 ESM team that is a lot better than the record states.
Absolutely. The big conference, Class B, Lowville Boys 10-0, Chittenden 10-1. They're lost to Double A, Fayetteville Manulus. Utica Academy of Science 9-1. Skinny Atlas number 4, 9-1. West Hill 8-2. Little Falls 10-1. Phoenix 10-2. Central Valley Academy 9-2. VVS 8-1. Marcellus 7-3. General Brown 6-3. South Jefferson Boys coming in number 12. They're 5-4. 13th ITC of Syracuse 6-6. Highland Patton 5-5, and APW at 15 5-5. Number 16 Solvay at 4-5. So that's loaded too.
Yeah,
Class B's
again,
loaded.
Class B on both the boys and the girls side have so many teams with good records. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all shakes out at the end.
We'll go to C. Tully is number 1 at 10-1. West Canada Valley is 11-1 at number 2. That makes sense to you? Something might be off here.
Yeah.
Weedsport is 10-1. Dodgeville is 8-2. Waterville 9-3. South Lewis 8-3. Markham is 8-4. Cato Meridian 7-5 at number 8. Number 9 Beaver River is 6-4. Number 10 Herkimer is 6-5. Number 11 Lafayette is 6-7. Number 12 Westmoreland 5-6. Adirondack 5-7. Thousand Islands 5-7. And then number 15 Pulaski is 3-6.
Yeah.
So that's Class C, could be in any given day too.
Yeah. So we got we're past the midway point of the season. We're in the second half of the season, moving into the sectionals pretty soon. Next, what's this? Today's January. So next month you'll be starting the meeting for the sectionals is in the middle of February, and then they will get the brackets done, and we are going to crown champions on March 5th and 6th. The girls will be on March 5th, and the boys will be on March 6th.
Let me do D before you go too far.
Okay.
Class,
go ahead.
Class D before we get. Sackett Harbor is 12-0. Hamilton 11-0. The Ryder 8-1. Cincinnati 7-1. Bellevue Henderson 9-2. Madison coming in at number 6, 10-3. Copenhagen is 9-4 at number 7. Number 8 Arinsky 7-5. Atislic Valley at 4-4 to number 9. New York Mills is number 10 at 5-6. Faith Heritage 4-6, number 12. Manlius Pebble Hill 3-6, and Morrisville Eaton 3-5, and Remsen is 3-6.
All right.
So Class D, those teams will make it too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I think I said to you on the podcast last time, it's really fun to see some of these, like the Class D, and see some of these smaller schools come to the SRC arena for the sectionals. They bring the whole town with them. It's all packed and they're loud. And I mean, it's just a great experience. I love seeing some of the smaller schools. It reminds me of that movie Hoosiers,
Small
yeah. So
were you there 2 years ago for Brookfield girls in Lowville?
When I was probably doing the boys side of things.
The Lowville boys, it was nothing but red, and the Brookfield girls was nothing but orange and blue in the small gym. Gym.
Yeah.
I like those two. I like the small towns with the big crowds. That's why I want to get out to one of those. I gotta get out to a couple of those games to see how it is.
Yeah.
Chittenango too. Their fan base is going crazy this year.
Mm-hmm. And DeRider boys have been playing well lately too, as well. So
Gavin Richardson, he 1,000 points.
Yeah.
We'll see who got probably some more 1,000-point scores coming up this week.
Yeah.
I'll post them whenever they come around to me.
All right. So let's hope that we don't get too much snow and that we can get around and get these games in. And it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be an exciting week. We'll have a lot to talk about. The new state rankings will come out on Tuesday. We can talk about them the next time we get together. And
Thursday again.
Yeah, we'll probably Thursday will be good. That way we'll know we can talk about the games that happen on Tuesday and preview the games that are coming up on the weekend. How's that sound?
That's perfect with me.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Another edition of CNY Hoop Talk in the 315 with my man, Jeff Richardson. I'm Nick Aversa. We'll see you next time.
What was delayed up there?